Rita Kitchen is open. Today I've decided we're going to do blackened salmon fettuccine Alfredo. But first thing first in Rita's kitchen, what must we all do? Wash our hands. First thing you want to do, put a little soap in your hands. Wet them up. Lather them. Go up your arm a bit. Back down your hands. In between your fingers. Up underneath your nail beds, because what you're trying to do is capture all germs. Then if that don't work for you, if it seems too long, do the happy birthday song, or do 10, 15, or even 20 seconds to do. Clean hands are safe. I'm back. Hands are clean. Let's get started on this tasteful but simple dish. So first thing first we're going to need for that blackened salmon fettuccine Alfredo, of course, is salmon. I went with a fresh salmon. You're allowed to go with a frozen, depending on how your pocket go. That's totally up to you. Then what I've decided to put in for my ingredients, I'm going with a fresh spinach, a dried tomato, a baby bella mushroom, and I'm going to garnish with some basil. But these ingredients here are actually my sauce. Usually, you guys, you know I'm known for making my Alfredo from scratch. Well, today we're going simple, quick, easy, and just perking it up just a little bit using other people's stuff. So I went with a classico Alfredo sauce. You want to go ahead and pop that in a pot and bring it to a simmer. Doctor it up the way you want to. I actually used a little bit of the Parmesan and Asiago cheese in there, and I add a little butter and maybe a little lemon juice just to boom, perk it a little. And your fettuccine noodles. Of course, while we prepping our salmon up, you can have your water boiling for your pasta. So you want your pasta to boil for 10 whole minutes. Turn it off, let it stand for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and then rinse it with cold water so it will not cook internally, because you do not want a mushy noodle. You want an al dente noodle. So let's jump back over here to our salmon. Now, my salmon, I have allowed it to sit in some lemon juice because I like lemony flavors with my seafood. I have allowed it to sit for about 7 to 10 minutes. Now, again, it's called blackened salmon. So, we're going with a Zatarain's blackened seasoning. You want to season that up as heavy as you want to, because anything blackened is pretty much a spicy flavor. So, you could go as light or as heavy as you want to. As you see, I like it a little heavy. I'm also going to add a little Cajun to this just to perk up that little blackened Zatarain's there. Then, of course, you can never get too much lemon or pepper in your seafood. My opinion. Yours might be different, because this is pretty much like a dry rub. And what I'm going to allow it to do is let this seasoning sit on it for at least 5 minutes. Then, we're going to go over to my cooking station and start cooking it with the skin down first. I'll explain that technique once we get over there. Be back in a sec. Okay, so I'm over here at the cooking station, about to go ahead and transfer my salmon into my skillet. So what you want to do is you want to heat you up a little olive oil, and you want to put like maybe a tablespoon of butter in that olive oil, because it allows it to continue to get hot without actually burning so quickly. So let's go ahead and get started with this salmon. And you want to cook it again skin down. You want to cook your skin first, because cooking that skin down, of course, we're not going to add that into our pasta. What we're going to do is, oh yeah, you hear that? You're going to actually allow that skin to become crispy, and then you're going to flip it over and take you a spatula and just pretty much just lift the skin up off the back. But I'll give you guys a show on how I'm going to get that off, so you guys will know how to do that. So just let that ride out until you see those ends curling up, and just check it every so often. But salmon only take minutes, literally. And The way you know if your salmon is done is it should be flaky and moist to the touch. Not dry, flaky and moist. Be back in a sec. Okay, so now that our salmon is on, it's doing what it do. I told you guys to get that sauce in the pot, bring it to a simmer, and start just prepping it up a little bit your way. I'm just giving you my way. I'm adding a little bit of that Parmesan and Asiago and Romano cheese. I've already put my lemon juice and a little butter in there. So, continue to let that simmer. Then we're going to jump over here and saute our veg. So, my olive oil is hot. We're going to add the mushrooms. We're going to add those dried tomatoes. Move those around a bit. Let them go ahead and simmer out a little bit. So we're going to let them sweat out a bit, and then we're going to come back in and put our spinach, because as you all know, spinach don't take long. We're just going to shake just a dab of salt. Okay, that salmon is still cooking. It's been cooking for about maybe 5 minutes on the skin, but you want that skin to get really crispy. That way it'll come off really, really easily. But I take that oil that's in that pan and just go all around it. And if you're willing to go ahead and just play with it a little bit, you can actually go over the top of your salmon and it'll just start to cook it. So when you flip it, it won't take as long. Because as you see, this is a meaty boy. Okay, so we'll be ready to flip that in a couple minutes. Now, those mushrooms are still sweating out a bit. They are huge the way I like them. We're going to go ahead and add that spinach. Just a little bit of salt. Nothing major, because everything else is seasoning as well. So don't overpower it. And that'll be done in a second. And we're going to be ready to wrap this dish up in a sec. I'm going to show you guys how to get that skin off that salmon quicker than you will know it. Okay, I flipped that salmon and it's time to go ahead and remove that skin. I'm going to show you guys how easy and simple it is. If you allow it just to get hard, to get really crispy, you'll see how easy. You don't even have to use a utensil, to be honest. You could just lift that baby right on up. You might get a little bit on there, but you see how flaky that is? You can scrape it right off, because that's what it does. And I know you guys are thinking, okay, what about the seasoning on that side? But you don't have to never overdo anything. That salmon is seasoned perfectly. Perfectly. You don't have to put nothing else on that. You got all kinds of different elements going on with this thing. So leave it alone and let it finish cooking. But again, a way you want to know if that salmon is done, as you see how nicely it's starting to flake. So you want to go like inch by inch. And I can do this like this because we're going to actually mix this up in our vegetable foundation for our Fettuccine Alfredo. So that part of that salmon is done. I don't want mine to overcook, so I'm going to actually go ahead and put it over here with the veg. And I'm going to let that big part continue to do what it do for a couple minutes. And I'll be back with a completed plate for you guys. Blackened salmon, fettuccine Alfredo, Rita's way. There you go. Look how beautiful that is. Look at that. Blackened salmon, fettuccine Alfredo. Voila.